Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Ite Namani.
This is the second of the three good fortunes I had of spending some time with Srila Prabhupada personally. It was rather difficult in those days for a new kid on the block, and I was fairly new. I joined in '75. And at this time, it was around the same time, Srila Prabhupada was visiting the Manhattan Temple, and he was on his initial inspection. And although I had spearheaded construction on the building with Tosan Krishna, and Pancharatna was our quasi-bhakta leader, I wasn't invited to go on the initial inspection. However, being familiar with the building as I was, I knew the fire doors that didn't lock. There were certain doors that would not close securely. So I waited until Srila Prabhupada and the entourage passed this particular fire door, and Tamal Krishna was there, and Adi Keshava was there, Bhavananda, Sudama, Madhavisa, maybe Sri Ram. So whoever, anybody who was anybody was kind of there at that time. And I waited just until the entourage passed the fire door, and I opened it as quietly as I could, and I slipped into the back of the procession, and Drishtadyumna Maharaj was there, and he said, "Hey, you know, you can't be here," and this was by invitation. I said, "No, I want to spend time with Srila Prabhupada." And Srila Prabhupada stopped, and he turned around, and he looked right at us in the back of the procession, and that was it. Boy, we were just like, you know, fell into line like a couple of choir boys, and that was the end of it. He just gave us a look. And so, but what followed that was curious, and I sort of haunted by it in a way. Tamal Krishna suggested to Srila Prabhupada that we sell the building on 55th Street, and Srila Prabhupada pretty much ignored him, and it struck me because I had put so much blood, sweat, and tears into working on it, so I was personally attached. And then Adi Keshava said, and with this, I think it was $2.1 million they were anticipating in profit at the time, we can do some other, I guess he was going to say project, and Srila Prabhupada interrupted him, and he said, "Stop." He said, "Do not sell this building. Where will the devotees go? Where will the deities go? If you sell this building, so many devotees will fall down." And Adi Keshava attempted to persist, and he said, "But Srila Prabhupada." And Srila Prabhupada took his cane and he slammed it on the floor. And he said, "No, no means no." And that was the end of the conversation, and we proceeded with the inspection floor by floor. And I think the memory, I take care of that, and there's another story that goes along with this about the subsequent meeting that I crashed when they were planning to sell the 55th Street Temple, but I don't think it's appropriate to discuss that now, but I interrupted their meeting when they were talking about how they were going to sell the building. But what I took away from that experience was, for me, certainly personally, and for all of us as Prabhupada's disciples, what the consequences are for disobeying a direct order of the spiritual master. And of course, what we saw subsequent to selling the building was a tragedy of epic proportions.
And within about 5 or 10 minutes, some other GBCs come in, Maharajas are in and out, and the conversation is very grave. I've never seen such a grave tone. Of course, you know, I mentioned America, Prabhupada's always pretty upbeat. And then gradually over time, I don't know what the period of time was. To me, I think it was probably an hour or more. The room starts to fill up. Devotees aren't leaving. They're coming in and sitting down. And Prabhupada's, I don't know if questions are being asked or if he's just talking, but it's very serious conversations, very grave. And the room begins to pack up a little more. And devotees themselves too, they're very, you don't know how to react because at least for me, you never seen Prabhupada like this. You don't know what to think. So gradually, eventually, you're watching all the movements of Prabhupada. He kind of looks over as the doors beginning to open. And these Madhajis from New Vrindavan, I can't remember their names, but they were famous for traveling in the van and selling Prabhupada's books. Like the men were doing. We had Radha Damodar, but they had a ladies' party from New Vrindavan. And they're performing the same austerities, if not more. At least we had a bus with deities you come back to with morning program. There's somebody's cooking for you. Maybe you have to shower outside. But these girls would pull up behind the gas station, sleep, get up in the morning, open up the water tap, take their bath outside, cook for themselves, go out and sell books. Really, if you think that's some austere service. And of course, they were well known in the movement for that, and they were getting big results. So anyway, the Mataji kind of sticks her head, and it looks like there's no room, and she's going to leave. And as soon as Prabhupada sees her, I remember his face just lit up. Just like instantaneous. He's just so happy. He's like, move. He's make room. And he brings them in. He sits them right in front, three of them. And immediately he's just laughing and he's joking. I don't remember the conversation, but the whole room just became, a big, everybody's just happy and laughing out within a second. Even though he looked like he was so sick before, all gone. Totally just, this is transcendental person. They're not the body. So one lesson I kind of got out of that, because again, like I mentioned in the beginning, the devotees' moods were always, not that so much, at least for me, we didn't want to try to enjoy Prabhupada, but you wanted to be recognized from Prabhupada. And it was amazing to see how pleased he was with these devotees. He was so pleased with those devotees. So many years later, of course, that was 1977, I met that one devotee. I can't remember her name. But anyway, she's in New Vrindavan. That was probably in 2009. And, we're all talking about Prabhupada memories, and I told her about it. I said, you remember when you were in Mayapur? I said, yeah, I said, you remember coming into that room and you poked your head in? I said, what you didn't see was how Prabhupada transformed when he saw you. I said, he was so happy with you all that he just became like, he was just so joyful. Instantly, before you came in that room, it was just very grave conversation. And actually, she said, I didn't know that. She thought the whole conversation had been like that the whole time when she came in. So, but anyway, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
For me, Prabhupada is everything. Our life started with Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalaka. All these statements for me is not theoretical. It's actually a fact. We were still in deep dark of ignorance. Still, we are struggling to come up to the standard of devotion service. But we are not in the standard, but at the same time, we are not able to give up devotion service. So that means it's not a cheap thing. So Prabhupada is be-all, end-all for me. But is a progressive. I'm not a Prabhupada fanatic. We are not meant to be. The whole Vedic culture doesn't promote fanaticism. It makes you think. It may take many lifetimes. Doesn't matter. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhakti Rahoitu Kitui. Life after life. But this is my only prayer. Let me be born as a devotee. So we should be ready to take birth. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes even more further. Even if I'm born as a worm due to my own misdeeds, let me be born in the devotee's house so that the kirtan of the devotee will enter into my ears and I'll become purified. So, when you are Prabhupada Nishtha, your faith is also very strong. But when you are a Prabhupada fanatic, you are very afraid, just like the Christians. Anything that doesn't appear in Bible, this is all heathenic. We don't not accept. But we are not like that. That's why sometimes I make the point, our God brothers, don't make Prabhupada into Jesus. He's not Jesus. He's more than Jesus. You cannot believe what he is. Let's not make him into Jesus and Let's not make his books into Bible and then oppress in the due course of time all the different people. What is loyalty, what is faith in Prabhupada means. No, this is not such a cheap thing. Yes? Prabhupada, there are certain, like even Sukadeva Goswami, he speaks about Krishna being killed in Bhagavatam, in the 12th canto. It comes, he's hit by the hunter's arrow. Now it's Sukadeva Goswami speaks. Now can we take it so literally, that statement, that Krishna died? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, if we ourselves are eternal, how come Krishna is not eternal? So Krishna never died. But why is this pastime being spoken by Sukadeva Goswami? Why this pastime happened? Is only to bewilder those atheistic class. So they'll become more convinced that Krishna is dead, now we can do what we want. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the cause of remembrance, knowledge and forgiveness. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam. So he doesn't encroach in this minute freedom. But you can use the Shastras for justifying your statement this way or that way. So similarly, Prabhupada has given us this very beautiful understanding of life. I mean, when I see Prabhupada, I see he's the most broadest mind. He is not afraid. And that fearlessness must come in our life if we are proper disciples. You know, I may not be a real classic example of a disciple in terms of rules, but we are following, we are doing as much as we can. Sometimes we also stumble in our way. But the fact of the matter is that faith, it is not Komal Shraddha as a Bhaktivinoda talks. Komal Shraddha means very tender faith. It has to come to a Drida Shraddha, means firm faith. And this is what Prabhupada makes it happen in our life. So we are not afraid to meet this Gaudiyas, that Gaudiyas. Well, we will reconcile everything by the knowledge and the understanding which Prabhupada gave us in our life. And that is keeping us strong. We are thankful to Prabhupada about this. We are not afraid of meeting anybody. We will deal with it. Let them say what they have to say. Like Prabhupada always does that. You know that book which Hayagriva brought it out? Spiritual, it's a red book. In all the philosophies he speaks, and Prabhupada, how he dealt with each philosopher so nicely. He has not read all those philosophers, but what do they have to say? He would say what they say, then Prabhupada would either refute or he would say, yes, we also accept in the Vedic, and this is also our acceptance. Like Jesus, according to Christians, according to the Bible statement, I am the way, I am the truth, nobody goes to the Father in the heaven except through me. But for the whole Christian world, it ends with Jesus. Nobody after that, before that, it's there. And somebody told the same statement to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, what did he say? Yes, we accept it 100%. Without Guru, you cannot go to Krishna. So I was telling in a class, I said, what is the difference between the whole Christian world and Prabhupada? The whole Christian world is fanatics. They're kanishtas. They see separate from the interest of the Lord. Whereas Prabhupada, being Uttam Bhagavat, coming to Madhyam to preach, he in 1 second he reconciled the whole statement. So this is Prabhupada, you know. So taking shelter of Prabhupada means fearlessness. Avaya Charana, this Avaya Charana must come in our heart also. And this comes like he has done it by taking shelter of his Guru and his instruction. Similarly, he has given us this chance to become fearless in our life.
So one time in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada was giving a class shortly after the opening of the Mayapur Chandradoya Mandir. And I remember this class very specifically. And this really exemplifies Srila Prabhupada's absolutely sublime character and his humility. This was a very successful moment in his preaching achievement. He had gone to the West, he'd come back, he had built the Mayapur Chandradoya Mandir, and it was the opening ceremony. And he was clearly emotional. And the amazing thing that he said, that I remember very clearly, he said, I'm unfit to be your leader. And I couldn't understand. When I was hearing that then, it didn't register with me. But after reflection upon his words, after all these years, I can realize that out of genuine humility, he actually meant it. He would say, I'm unfit to be your leader. He said, Lord Chaitanya has planted you all over the world. And because previously you were associated with Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. He said, actually, the credit is to you. I'm unfit to be your leader. And I could not understand it in those. I just did not know what he was talking about at that time. As a young devotee, I was 24 years old. I had been a devotee for 4 years. And I could not understand, but now I understand it, is that he actually meant it. That's what really impresses me tremendously, is that he had everything to be proud of. He had everything to boast about. But he genuinely thought he was unqualified. He said, I'm not fit to be your leader. And he actually meant it. I could never do that. As soon as I get a little bit of achievement, you start gloating, you start feeling a little bit elated, but not with Srila Prabhupada. So how can we understand, the purity of such a Mahabhagavat like Srila Prabhupada and his humility, the humility that he displayed in that instance amidst his glorious achievement. And he never ever was proud. But at the same time, he was never ever fearful of chastising people, his competitors, who didn't spread the movement according to the wishes of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Srila Prabhupada's character of humility in the midst of his absolutely amazing achievements is something that's very hard to comprehend. It can only come from someone who's a Mahabhagavat, and that was Srila Prabhupada.
Je anilo premadana karuna prachu. Anilo premadana karuna prachu.